Welcome to another video with A&A Mustangs. Today's video, we're gonna be doing some Coyote shenanigans. We have the Coyote engine. As you guys have seen the post, it's gonna go in this Challenger right here. So today, we have the engine out here. I'm gonna get my engine hoist, pull it out, attach the transmission, and we're gonna test fit it. See how it's gonna look, what all I'm gonna have to modify, what the suspension's gonna look like, and go from there. So stay tuned. All right, so as you guys know from the last video, this is actually 2014 Coyote. I thought it was 2013, but it's out of 2014 Mustang GT.
Track pack too. Track
pack, so it does have the oil cooler, which if I'm able to get these lines, I might leave that on there, but if not, I might just get rid of it. I don't know if it's gonna be like a track car. It'd be maybe going to the drag strip a couple of times, but you know, this is just gonna make a lot more hoses and things like that, but that's gonna be once the engine's in there, so I'm not even worried about that now. What I am gonna do is pull it out of the engine stand here. I do have the transmission, and in later videos I will explain a little bit more of what we're doing, why I'm going with this setup here, but this is kind of just the test fitting stage. But I do have a 4R70W transmission here, and so this mounts to that engine. I'm gonna bolt that on there. We're gonna probably take the torque converter so it's not as heavy. This is an 8.8 rear end. This is out of an Explorer, so it's got 373 gears. And we're also gonna put this in there. Again, we'll probably go a little bit more into it in later videos, but we're not gonna do nothing with that today. Today's just gonna be, you know, let's see how the transmission and engine gets in that engine bay. So next thing is to grab my engine hoist, which is back there. Engine hoist, roll it out there, get the engine on it, and then we'll show you guys once we have that done. Okay, we have the hoist all hooked up to the engine here, so I'm gonna lift it, unbolt it from here. I'm gonna use the same bolts to hook up the transmission, just put like a couple bolts. And then we'll get it in there. I'm also gonna install some headers that I got so I can see how they fit in there, what the clearance looks like. And like I said, in the later videos I'll kind of talk about the flywheel and all that to make that transmission work. This is just a test fit video. You know, I think a lot of you guys didn't realize, or maybe you didn't believe that we were actually gonna put this engine in there, but once we get the transmission out here, we'll show you guys what that looks like. All right, so I was just looking at the flex plate that we're gonna go to run the 470W, and so it does fit. Everything looks good so far. You just gotta line up the holes, and so I'm not gonna put this on there now. I did get some new ARP bolts hardware for that. I do have to get a pilot bearing puller to pop this out of place, because I'm going with automatic. So usually the torque converter has a little spout, little nipple that goes right in this area, so you can't leave that in there. But anyways, we're gonna take the torque converter out of the tranny now, so that's okay as it is for now, and then we're just gonna bolt it as is. So we have the transmission and the engine mated. It's just provisional. We did come into a little bit of a problem with the torque converter not lining up with that flex plate that I showed you guys earlier, and so from what we, you know, kind of look, people say for our 70W it'll fit. I think the torque converter of the Mustangs has a smaller diameter bolt pattern, and so didn't match. So I don't know if I'm gonna try to order a different flex plate and see if that fixes it, or just drill holes on the new flex plate, you know, whatever. But as you can see, we're gonna get ready to push this in here and see what it looks like. I haven't put the headers on there yet. I'm gonna put it in there like that, and then we'll probably slip the headers in and see what that looks like afterwards. But yeah, it's happening. So we're gonna kind of drop it in there and then show you guys what it looks like. So after some struggling, I did have to take the bolts off the front of the hood, like I did when we pulled the other engine out, just to, you know, have the hoist, because, you know, the chain is kind of high. So obviously if we, I mean, I could possibly make the chain tighter and lower the angle there so it's not pointing up on the chain. So maybe we'll try that now when we pull it out. If we pull it out, you know, it lives in here so nicely that I almost just want to leave it in here. So a couple of things, anyone trying this at home, but you know, don't do this at home. The steering linkage right now, that's as far as back as we can put this engine, because that linkage down there, it can clear and you can kind of see it, but if we lift the engine a little bit, or I think right now it's kind of clearing, but when you turn it, it does move forward a little bit. And so that's as far back as we could put the engine. Now that puts the engine about 7 inches from the firewall, yeah, which is kind of a little bit forward. If you look at the front of the car, you know, the engine is a little bit farther than the tires, so that'll make it a little bit nose heavy, although engine is lighter, so no big deal. Oil filter with the cooler is hitting the factory K-member here. And then the other thing is, factory on these cars, the engine is a little bit more to the passenger side, because even the transmission tunnel is kind of upset a little bit. So, you know, if you see, the engine is kind of far away on this side, yeah, which makes sense maybe for your steering shaft and all that. But on the other side here, it's pretty much right at the shock tower here, which I believe the headers kind of go up around this area, so we technically couldn't have it this far this way. Nope. Now if you also look at the engine, it's a little bit tilted this way, and that could be where we mounted the chain. You know, if it was straight, then it would go a little bit more that way and get farther away this way, so we could fit the header on this side. But as of right now, you know, there's a few things that are kind of on the way. From what I can see though, here the what is that thing, a torsion bar suspension, yeah, it's about 6 inches from the transmission. And I'll get a tape measure. I'm going to measure that because I can put the header on the engine when we pull it back out and see how far it's from the transmission, just to see if it's going to clear down there. This side, it's about 8 inches, so it's got more room. But again, if we do pull the engine this way, that's gonna reduce that. So I'm gonna do all those measurements. Junior does have the nice chrome headers here, so you know, he's gonna try to guide that in here.
eBay specials.
Yeah, eBay, you know, eBay Motors, whatever their slogan is now, I don't know. But eBay, anyways, he's gonna stick these in there. Just stick it in there, man. Do it. At this point, there's nothing you can scratch. It's all rusted.
I don't want to scratch the header.
Well, I guess the header, you can't scratch the header. You know what? Maybe it's easier from the bottom.
Fair enough.
We're gonna see. I just want to see if we can get one in with this kind of, you know, factory suspension on the car. I am gonna change it, so either I'm gonna go with like a K-member like a tubular K member maybe, I don't know. I'm just thinking of doing something different than the factory, just to also give us more room. But okay, I'm gonna set you guys down for a second because I need two hands here. Hold on, Junior.
Okay. The stud on the head is on the way, so let me go back. Hold on.
Yeah, pull it back down maybe. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we fitted the header. It does fit on this side. Surprisingly, it goes around this steering shaft, this gearbox, perfectly. I thought that was gonna be a problem with headers. Not whatsoever. Although if we move the engine this way, I mean, we still had a few inches, so I think we're good as far as this. We're gonna try to pull the engine backwards, so that would give us more room around the gearbox, which that's the main problem there. Definitely where the motor mount down there, I mean, that's gonna keep us from pulling the engine this way, pretty much doing any of that. So that's the problem. Also, the header was hitting the torsion bar going back on this side, and this side is farther away than that side. So that's a problem. Yep. I mean, we can always cut it and then weld it offset or something. Huh? How about that?
Do a 90 on the header?
So, you know, that's kind of the things. That steering. Hey, what if we cut the steering and then just put like bars down so it goes underneath? As long as it doesn't unweld, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be good for safety. Anyways, now we know really what we need to do as far as the suspension underneath to get the engine in here. You know, definitely I would want to have it about 4 inches farther back.
Yep.
Even at this point, I mean, we have room for a radiator and
slim fan, maybe.
You know, a fan. You know, you can always put the fan on the front, but I really would want the engine further back. So as far as underneath, the transmission looks pretty good on the tunnel. Nothing really hitting. Maybe slightly on top, which it's no big deal. I mean, you know, maybe like in this area right up there, which when I do the floorboard, I mean, right now half of the floorboard is not there, so I could just cut a piece on top, and that way I know, okay, does the tranny need to go up, and then the new floorboard I can just modify it so it's a little bit higher on the hump. No big deal there. Here on the front, if we go 4 inches, the bell housing of the tranny is going to be right about, you know, where the opening is. And then if we're able to drop the engine on the front about 2 inches, that is definitely gonna help that part on the back. So yep. You know, there's a few things, so now we know what our plan is. So pulling the engine out, right back out now, and then putting it back in the stand and all that good stuff. But and then figuring out that flex plate. I have no idea what's gonna happen there, but I'll let you guys know as we move through that. So
we got a couple ideas.
We're gonna pull this engine back out. It's probably gonna be harder taking it out than it went in, but
it does fit though. The hood will close.
It does fit. Yeah, right there the hood will close. It is kind of high though. I would want it at least 2 inches lower on the front. The back,
in case we want activities up here too, you know.
The back is not bad, but I would want the front to be down at about 2 inches or 3. I would love to be able to move the engine this way about 2 inches, just to keep clearance for the header on the side. And so, you know, a few things. I mean, I can always cut that piece there on the bottom, modify that for the motor mounts anyway, so that's not a big deal at this point. But the main thing is the steering. We can't, you know, just cut and modify that. So got the engine back inside. Just fitted the engine on the Challenger, all ready for the next steps. So stay tuned for our build. Hopefully there's going to be a good surprise coming up on what we're going to do to make the Coyote fit in there pretty good. Stay tuned. You know, it's going to be slow coming of the videos because I gotta, you know, save up and buy the parts and things like that. But that is coming. I'm gonna try to get it done this year. Actually, that's my goal, to The car's not gonna be done, but it's gonna be on the road, driving as it looks, but driving. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next videos. Keep working on the Challenger. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Subscribe to our channel. We'll see you in the next one.